Okay, so this week we are doing vegetable two ways, and we thank Scotiabank and Food Share for supporting us. Last week we did share a family recipe and what our favorite recipe. Did anyone have a favorite recipe that they used recently? Or did anyone try something we did last week? I know some people sent in the lemon blueberry cake recipe. So I'm happy that people tried it and shared that with us.
Yeah, the photos look so good. And the people who made the blueberry cake as muffins or as a little loaf.
If anyone's cooking along with us or tries these recipes, we just remind you to always wash your hands and to make sure that you have a parent or guardian with you if you are using knives or the stove. Today we're going to do romaine lettuce two ways as our vegetable two ways. Today we have a special guest with us.
Yeah, so just before I throw it over to our special guest, I'm just going to suggest if you want to put it on speaker mode, that will ensure whoever is speaking, you can see them. Our special guest today is Matthew Sullivan. You can also click on him and then pin video, the three dots. So that's another way to make sure that you see his video and you don't lose track of him. So we're so thankful Matt has decided to join us and teach us a lesson today. So Matt comes to us from MLSE. So he works over at the Scotiabank Arena, so part of the team, the extended team. And he has over 14 years working in this field. He was also, I think, really cool, featured on Top Chef Canada on the Food Network. So bringing a lot of skills to share with us. So please give him a warm welcome in the chat. You know, we're really thankful that he's joining us and that we can see how another kitchen works and what that setup looks like. So I'm not going to take up too much time because we want to hear it from him. So I'm going to throw it over to Matt now, and you can introduce kind of where you are and what you're teaching us today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you very much for having me. Been very, very busy times cooking in the bubble for all the players who are here in Toronto. So those guys eat a ton of food. They eat like 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, and then like after the game they eat more. It's been a lot of work, so this is like kind of a fun, nice break for me. And I'm actually in 11 Kitchen, which is just beside Real Sports, there in the Bremner Square. And I'm going to be showing you something that a lot of people don't think of as an exciting vegetable, or vegetable really that you would even cook. Like, I mean, you think of romaine lettuce, people think of salad, you know, Caesar salad. Maybe, you know, you take a piece and you put it on your sandwich. But in countries like Italy and Spain, and actually where I learned this from my wife, who is her family's from China, often people cook the romaine. And the other special part I'm going to show you today is that none of it has to go to waste. Like this part here very often gets thrown away, but it's actually the best part. And I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm going to start by just like first I'll take a look around. Like I can see there's like a little hole there, right? So all I'm going to do is just chop away any little parts that look like they might be a little bit spoiled, but that was it. Like for this whole thing, this is the only piece that we're not going to use. Here with MLSE, we find it really, really important that we don't waste any food at all. And we have to get creative sometimes with the way that we do that. We donate a lot of food to Second Harvest, but we also make sure that the product that we get in, we respect it and use as much of it as we can. We do not like seeing food go in the garbage at all. So I'm going to start by taking out, we're going to do the grilled lettuce first. So I'm going to take these peels off just like so until I get to the center part. You're going to kind of know when you're in the center pretty soon, almost there. So the leaves are less green. I'm going to leave it kind of right there like that. And I'm going to just chop off the top. I'll show you. Okay, so that is all going in a bowl right now. And then this is going to be the second part, which is easily the best part of the romaine lettuce and one of my favorite things to eat. So you can see here, like the root, if you've ever been to a Chinese grocery store like T&T, they sell lettuce root. So this would just keep growing. And if you take the leaves off, and then the root that's left is really, really delicious. It's almost like bok choy. But anyway, first to the grilled part. So, and this is going to be one of the easiest recipes you've ever seen, and it's so good. Okay, so I got my lettuce in the bowl. Really, really simply, just some olive oil. Okay. And then some salt and pepper. Now we're going to mix that up. You want the oil to kind of be all over the lettuce. So when it hits the grill, it's like the way that I when I'm teaching cooks, it's like when you go out into the sun and you don't want to, you don't want to get burned. You put a little bit of suntan lotion or lotion on. So it's the same thing with food. Before you put something on the grill or in the oven, it's good to have just a little bit of oil on it, and that will kind of help it from not like charring. You'll still get it will look like grill marks, but it's not going to burn the actual lettuce. It's the oil that's going to cause that mark. So now here we go. I have a hot grill right here. You guys can see it. Yeah. So I'm going to throw it on. Okay. And it's going to be about 15, 20 seconds. In the meantime, in the same bowl, I'm putting a little bit of garlic. Then some more of the olive oil. And then here I have some red wine vinegar. Or sorry, I use white wine vinegar. Just like that. So I'm going to quickly flip the lettuce. So it's getting some nice grill marks on there. I'll show you one. That, okay. It's kind of like if you think about like asparagus or bok choy or cabbage, like all those vegetables can be eaten raw or cooked. But a lot of people, you never think about lettuce being cooked. So I always love showing people that. All right, so that's it. It's pretty much done. I just wanted to wilt it, and it's gonna have a nice smoky flavor. Maybe actually a couple more seconds. We'll take the smaller pieces off first. Smaller pieces cook faster, so they come off first. Another smaller piece, and like you can see, like the nice grill marks on there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just toss it in this vinegar and garlic and olive oil, and it's going to kind of like pickle it a little bit. Give it some nice acid. So right now, you can eat it just like this, and it's delicious. Or you can chop this up and put it on a sandwich, chop it up and put it on a burger. It's really good in pasta. And a bunch of different things. But I'm just going to do a quick plating. I'm going to have to step off the screen for 2 seconds to cut it up. And I'm just going to plate it just like this with a little bit of olive oil and then some Parmesan cheese. And you're going to see it looks fancy and everything, but you'll see how simple it is. So it would be a good one to cook for your family and show them the skills you got. 1 second. So yeah, all I'm gonna do now is I'll bring my cutting board over here so you can maybe get a better look. So I'm gonna cut it down the middle like that. See, so it's like that, and it's almost like kind of, and I'll probably do it one more time actually. On each side, so that one piece is going to become 4 pieces. as you can see, like that. I'm gonna do that quickly with the other ones. And then it kind of ends up being sort of like a noodle in a way. But it's got great texture because this white part still has a little bit of crunch. And then the green part is nice and soft, but also has like a really good like smoky flavor. And there's garlic and the vinegar and olive oil. So it's a really very tasty, interesting sign. You just saw how easy it was to make. One more second here.
Quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Could you use a substitute for the white wine vinegar?
Yeah, you could use any vinegar, really. Like rice vinegar would work, balsamic, cherry vinegar, malt vinegar, even lemon juice. Really, you just want some acid in there. Another thing that I like to teach my cooks is when we season things, right? Everyone thinks salt and pepper, but acid is just as important as salt and pepper. So getting some sort of acid in there, and like I said, it could be citrus or any vinegar that you have. Even, you know what I like to do? If I have a jar of pickles at home, I'll just kind of like take out a little bit of the vinegar in there, and then it's delicious. It's just has garlic and vinegar and a lot of flavor. So maybe not for this exact salad, but it's really tasty stuff. Okay, so I cut up all of that lettuce down. I'm just going to plate it up. Okay. And then I got some Parmesan cheese. And believe it or not, that is it right there. Such a simple thing. Like lettuce, olive oil, garlic, vinegar. And it took, all 5 minutes to make. I guarantee you, like, this will blow people's minds. They would never think about cooked lettuce. So that's the first one. Now I'm going to go back to this part. So this is, again, like I used to always throw this piece of the romaine lettuce out and didn't think much of it until my wife taught me how she would cook it. So I'm going to cut this into quarters now.
Matt, before you jump to cooking the lettuce root, can I ask, with grilling the lettuce, like if somebody doesn't have kind of, a fancy setup with that grill you have behind you, if they don't have a barbecue, are there alternatives of how you could make this?
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't have to be on the grill. You just want to get some wilt. So if you just had a frying pan, a sauté pan, like anything like this, just to get it hot, and do the exact same thing. Throw it in there with some olive oil and cook it for 20-30 seconds. It'll give pretty much this almost the exact same finished product as the grill. Just you want to really make sure that pan is super hot. But yeah, it'd be just as good,
Okay, so you're just doing high heat, and then you said like 30 seconds.
High heat, yeah. I wouldn't even put any oil into the pan. I would have the lettuce tossed in the oil, then in the pan. It should kind of smoke up a little bit. Give it a couple quick tosses, and then while that's going on, you put your vinegar, your garlic, or olive oil. You can even put a pinch of sugar. I think I included a pinch of sugar in the recipe if you'd like. That's always good. Add a little bit of sweetness. But yeah, saute pan works just as well. Okay,
yeah.
so.
And then there was just another question: will grilling the lettuce give it kind of a twisted or a strange flavor, or does it just bring out a totally different flavor?
I you know what? It's weird. I can't put my finger on how to describe what cooked lettuce tastes like. If you cook it too long, it gets burned. Like, yeah, it might have a little bit of a bitter flavor, but just like if you can see this, I left this one piece off. Like it has a nice sort of smoky flavor. There's a little bit of like a pleasant bitterness. Yeah, and it's just like super refreshing. So yeah, don't burn it. Don't leave it on for too long. Just as long as I had it for, and it has like a really nice flavor. If you leave it on too long, yeah, well, it's gonna get just like anything else. It will get bitter and not very tasty.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. It looks like a nice summertime addition to meals. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'll
and
let you
like
go back to,
again, look
to
at
your
like
cooking.
it looks pretty fancy. I mean, for just a little bit of romaine lettuce. I mean, on the plate is probably 90 cents to $1. But if somebody fed me this, I'd be like, whoa, you guys know what you're doing. So okay, so to the lettuce root. So you can see I cut it into quarters. What we do at home or at the restaurant, we don't serve this on the menu, but I'll cook it for family meal at work because we serve so many Caesar salads. So we just mainly leave off like that little part in the Caesar salad. We save them all up, and then I stir fry them for a staff meal. So first things first, I got a hot pan here. Right, and okay, I got everything else here. Let me just kind of reconfigure myself. And I have some more of the chopped up garlic. I have more olive oil. I have some oyster sauce. If you don't have oyster sauce, soy sauce will work just as fine. And then I have some cornstarch, about a tablespoon of cornstarch, and I'm going to dissolve it in some water. And I'll show you what that is going to do. Give me 1 second here. So yeah, I just add some water and I'm dissolving it, and we're going to add this in right near the end, and it's going to thicken everything up. Okay, so my pan is nice and hot. I'm going to add the oil. And now the garlic. So you can see the garlic is kind of browning a little bit, which is what we want. Put it back on. I don't really like the flavor of too much raw garlic, so I like to cook it out until it gets GBD, which is golden brown delicious. You can kind of see it there now, so it's right where I want it to be. I'm going to add my lettuce and now stir fry it. The root is going to cook a little bit longer than the leaves, but you can see, like, here, let me get a close-up of the garlic for you. Like, the garlic is a really, really nice brown color. You don't want it any darker than that. So now we're going to add our oyster sauce. 1 tablespoon of that for this much. And again, if you don't have oyster sauce, soy sauce is just great. So it's sauteing up nicely. I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds on there. And then I'm going to add the water and the cornstarch. And that is going to thicken it up and make a kind of a sauce. Yeah, perfect now. All right. See, it's got nice and thick. You probably add a little bit more water to it. This I love to serve over rice. There we go. I'm going to grab another plate off camera for a second.
I wonder, Fiona, I know you had some trivia questions lined up. Maybe this would be a good time to take a pause as we're taking a pause from the cooking.
Alrighty. So we have some questions for you guys. First one is, A tomato is a, what is a tomato, guys? What do you think a tomato is?
C.
Here we have some people giving their opinions out loud. It's great. Okay, I think we almost have all the answers in. Do you want to give us the answer, Fiona?
Yeah, so a tomato, although it is scientifically a fruit based on how it grows, but when we cook it like we do vegetables. But if you wanted to bite into a tomato like you did an apple, you can. It's a fruit. Do another one.
Okay, I'm actually, we're good to go on the plate here. So if you have a look, you can see it's like a nice thick sauce with the garlic and the oyster sauce. And I'm gonna plate it up here now. The root is has gotten softened a bit.
Yeah, what's another vegetable we could cook like that?
Bok choy would be one. Napa cabbage.
Like any kind of green, maybe?
Yeah, any green really. Like there are some lettuces that are really so there you go, like that over rice, or even in ramen noodles is delicious. But yeah, Swiss chard, collard greens, kale, lots of different vegetables. Or like if you can get lettuce root, if you see lettuce root at a grocery store, it's normally like 69 cents a pound. And like just so tasty, so tasty.
Is there any other grain or protein you would add to either of the dishes or have them on the side?
Yeah, so with the first one, like the grilled one, it's good with like on a sandwich with some grilled chicken, or like if you want to add grilled chicken to that. For this one, the second one, what I would do before I added the lettuce I would stir fry some like beef or some chicken or even some shrimp or fish with the garlic. Add your romaine, stir fry that, and then add your oyster sauce and the water with cornstarch, and serve it over like a brown rice or rice. Yeah, it's very like you can do a lot of different things with it. You could even like the grilled one, having it broiled after it's grilled, like putting some cheese and then melting it in the oven with the cheese melting over it is really good. There's a ton of different stuff. This is just kind of like the base, like grilling and sautéing are the two sort of best ways of cooking the romaine if you're going to cook it. And then from there, just let your imagination run wild. Pasta is one. I love Italian cooking. When you're done, like when you're sort of sautéing the pasta and the sauce has come out of the water, just at the very last like 20 seconds, throw in the lettuce, and the lettuce sort of wilts in there, and then that's another green, and it's really tasty. Like I said, I wish I could describe the way cooked lettuce tastes, aside from saying it tastes like cooked lettuce. But just give it a try. Give it a try. Next time you're at the grocery store, if you don't have romaine in your house now, pick one up and try these recipes.
Yeah, I wonder, I know some people have their videos on. Is anybody cooking at home today, or is anybody trying this right now in their own kitchens?
We're gonna try it after we see the process. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think it's sometimes easier to see something and then figure out how to put it together.
Yeah. Another easy way is like ramen noodles. Ramen noodles is probably my favorite food. I've changed all my passwords now, so it's okay to tell you. But every password I had to everything was noodles before, because I just love it. And every time I make ramen noodles, I pour the water over, I put some lettuce in, and then I cover it, and it just like wilts, and it's delicious. So good. Most chefs don't like to admit that they eat ramen noodles, but I'm okay with admitting that. I'm fine.
Actually, Hina, one of our members on the call is asking what ramen noodles are. They haven't made them. How would
Oh
you
yeah,
describe it?
so ramen, it's a type of noodle that's like par cooked and then dried, and you just have to rehydrate. So you just boil some water. It comes in a packet with like some seasoning. You put the packet in your bowl with seasoning and just pour boiling water over it, and it just rehydrates, and it's sort of like a nice, delicious soup. I started when I was in school, living on my own, and it was like 25 cents for a meal. So I was like, sign me up, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah. Sierra, I saw you holding up lettuce. Are you making it at home today?
I'm working on it. I'm cleaning the lettuce for.
Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Grilled, and this is my heart to saute afterwards in a different pan.
Nice.
Yeah, perfect.
Love to see
I'll show
pictures
you.
if you guys make them, guys.
I
You like
will
the finished
try
product
to
again.
remember.
Here's the finished product again. Remember, like after it's cooked, or if you're gonna saute it in a pan, you can cut it into sort of like a noodle shape first, like I did here, or after is fine as well. Yeah, or leave it whole, or cut it into chunks, whatever you think. Like I say, you just use the grilling or sautéing as the two sort of ways of doing it, and then just get creative however you'd like to do it.
Now, oyster sauce was your recipe. I have soy sauce, but could you also add a little fish sauce to the soy sauce?
Oh yeah, now you are speaking my language, because I love fish sauce. I love it. Definitely, some fish sauce would be good in there. Just a couple drops, because it's really strong, obviously, like funky. But
Okay.
yeah, I love it. Maybe just right at the end. If you're adding fish sauce, maybe I always like a little bit of acid again with the fish sauce. So some vinegar or a squeeze of lime would be good to kind of like balance it, because it's like an umami bomb. You want your food to be as balanced as possible. But I love fish sauce would be great.
Okay.
Some chili, if you want some hot sauce in there, sriracha or fresh chili or chili flakes.
Or a Thai chili sauce. I have a Thai chili sauce in my fridge.
Yeah, totally. That works too. Yeah, a little bit of that.
Nice. I feel bad. I know some people have joined us a little late and they missed the cooking demo. I guess the other questions I have, I'm curious how things are kind of on your end. You're working from obviously a kind of professional kitchen. And if you can share with us, like, are there any insights into some of the meals that you're making really often right now, or even like nutritionally, if there's certain meals that you need to make?
Yeah, so the majority of the people we're cooking for right now are for the players, the hockey players, and those guys eat a lot. Like they never. I feel like all they do is eat and play hockey, because they have breakfast, and then they'll have their practice, and then they need a meal after their practice, and then it's like just nonstop. But they are on game days. They're very very strategic in what they eat. They do need some carbs. They need quite a bit of carbs, and then normally it's with a lean protein and vegetables, just simply like steamed or lightly cooked. No dairy whatsoever. But then on off days, they are eating chicken wings and pizza and burgers, and sometimes like all three together, because these guys are like big guys, and they eat a lot. Yeah, so it's such a crazy contrast where they're like so healthy and regimented, and then on non-game days, it's just whatever they want. Except when they go to overtime, so they'll play 3 periods and the game's still tied. They have to go to overtime, and we have to make them pizza. because their body is craving carbs. They need energy. They just played by hockey for 60 minutes and they've extracted all these calories and energy. So just give them a pizza, and I've seen them once, like they just rip the cheese off and like shove a slice down their mouth, drink some water, and then go play again. So yeah, it's the human body is really interesting. Like these athletes, they have it really down, like what they have to eat and when they have to eat. Yeah.
Nice. And someone was asking, how many times a day do you cook? Which
Oh my God, it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't stop. Most mornings, I get in around 7 or 8 a.m. and then leave at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So like 12, 14-hour days, and yeah, like they have to eat like 2 breakfasts, lunch, dinner, and then after post game and stuff like that. And then on top of it, because everybody here in NHL is in a bubble, including like the cameramen for NBC. They live in the hotel. They're not allowed to leave the bubble, so they really only have like 4 different spots where they can eat, where they're in the bubble, and our restaurant is one of them. So they come often. There's 52 people who work for NBC who need to eat 3 meals a day as well, and then roughly 200 hockey players a day. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But I'll tell you, it's a lot less than when we were open to the public for a Leaf game or a Raptors, like the Raptors championship game. We probably cooked for 3,000 or 4,000 people in just one day. So it seems like a lot now, but we're way busier when we were open to the public.
Yeah, as one of the participants wrote in the chat, that sounds exhausting, which I'm sure just a lot of hours being on your feet.
Yeah, and then I have a 3-month-old baby and a 2-year-old at home. So I get home and I'm like, here, take the baby now. So it's long days.
Chef, we'd love to if you shared some of your story, like how or why you started your career in cooking, or just like your background.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, during high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I was working part-time as a dishwasher to save up money. And that was probably 15 or 16. And I don't know, I just sort of ended up kind of from the dishwasher to like a dishwasher and a prep guy. And then, one day like a line cook wasn't there, so we called him sick. So I kind of went on the line and they taught me some of the dishes. And I was like, well, I really, really like this, which is good because I had no idea what I was going to do with my life anyway. And I worked at that pub for a while. I didn't think of it as a career, but like as time went on and I got better, it was like maybe I should go to school. So I went to culinary school and in Stratford, Ontario, and really, really fell in love with cooking. And after I was done, graduated, I got a job in England, London, just outside of London, England, south of there. So was there for about a year, working at one of the best restaurants in the world as sort of an apprentice. So apprentice is another term for just a guy who gets yelled at all day, and doing the fun jobs. So I got to learn, and then went on to New York and worked in New York City for a little while. And even in Taipei, I worked at a restaurant run by a Buddhist priest who used feng shui in this. His whole way of life was all about Buddhism, feng shui, and then he related that to food. So he had a little Airbnb where people would come, and he was just cooking them food and trying to be as balanced as possible. And then everyone was like, "This is the best food I've ever had." So he turned his little Airbnb, expanded it, and made it into a restaurant that was one of the top restaurants in all of Asia. So he had no training at all, and got to work with him for a while. That was a great experience. And then, yeah, I talked to a friend about an opening with MLSE 6 years ago, and my second favorite thing from cooking is sports. So when I heard about the opportunity to work here, I was sold on it, and I've been here for over 6 years now.
That's really, really great to hear your story. And I love how, it's taken you all over the world, and,
Yeah.
now you kind of in a place where you're connecting your love of sport and food. I'm curious, out of all of those places, aside from, where you are now at MLSC, so we'll take that one
Mhm.
out of the picture. So there's no, worries
Right.
about
Yeah.
hidden
Yeah.
preference. What has been your favorite place to work and cook?
I would say Taipei for sure, because it was like a really, really interesting concept, and there was like 30 cooks, and they would only serve like 25 people a day. So there was actually more cooks than people, and it was never like pressured or rushed. And they're close to the ocean, so we would just get like fresh seafood. It was mainly seafood and vegetarian, and he would kind of create the menu of the day. And I had a friend there who went to school. He was Taiwanese, but he went to school in LA, so he was my translator. I got to learn a little bit of Mandarin, and like just it was just, I don't know, like a really calming, positive experience, but also really made me look at food and life actually in a different way of just trying to be as balanced and positive as possible. And that's how the chef made his food taste really good. London was okay, or England was okay, but it was intense and scary. I learned a lot, but uh, every day I was afraid. I would wait. You have to wake up at like 5 a.m., shave, and then ride a bicycle in the dark through like places I didn't know. Traffic was on the other side. I almost got hit by cars so many times, and then 16 hours of just like being afraid. But like that kind of uh, felt like that put made me see like more of the professional kind of side of things, where Type A was like just chill. They were the opposite.
How many chefs are in the kitchen right now while you're working, like when everyone's in the bubble?
At Real Sports is probably like about 10 of us only, but normally there's like 30-ish. So yeah, we're about 10 right now. Let's see.
Favorite food you like to cook, or favorite cooking show, or a favorite cooking show?
My favorite food right now is pizza, because we got a pizza oven at Real Sports, and I had a chance to go with Chef Z. We went to New York and New Haven and Brooklyn, 3 towns in the U.S. that are known for their pizza, and we ate at like 30 different pizza spots and stuff, and it was really cool. So I've kind of like addicted to just perfecting pizza. So that's my favorite thing. My favorite cooking show was Top Chef, because I was on it. So that's I like that one. But it always was my favorite show, and like it's been on for like 13 or 14 years now. So I started watching it before I was, considering like I'd ever be accepted onto it. And then they actually reached out and said, "Do you want to audition?" And I went on. It was like 5 weeks of living in a hotel with no cell phone, and you shoot from 4 a.m. until I think our longest day was like 20 hours of just like cooking and shooting interviews and doing all kind of like B-roll and stuff like that. But it was an experience of a lifetime.
I think to bring it back to the lettuce, we had some questions. We're just asking you rapid fire questions that people are asking us in
No
the
problem.
chat.
I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can get a charger here. Hey, do you know if there's a plug for this charger? A plug, yeah. Sorry, yeah, I saw my battery was kind of going down. I have a plug in though, so they're working.
No worries.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, you were saying?
one of the questions that came in, I know you talked about different sauces that could go with the lettuce. Are there any other seasonings that you'd suggest with the lettuce?
Seasonings, yeah, like herbs, you know, from the garden, like grow lettuce in the garden, and then like basil, oregano, that'd be good seasonings. Or even if you want to do like, instead of olive oil, go like throw butter in there and maybe do white wine and onion. Or you can go like Cajun style. You can go sort of like Latin flavors like chipotle or um, jalapeno, make it spicy with lime. Like jalapeno lime chipotle would be really good. Yeah, with cilantro. Really, it's like it's it's sort of a blank canvas, so you can kind of take whatever flavors you like um, and put it in there, because the lettuce doesn't have a strong flavor, so it's just a good sort of canvas for whatever you want to have with it. I've actually made it with a dessert where I did it. We poached it in a simple syrup. I kept it whole, poached it in simple syrup, and then put sugar over it and did a creme brulee with ice cream. So it was like crispy on top, and it was really, really tasty. Yes. All right. I gotta,
So
sorry, I'm just plugging in here.
Yeah, go for that. I had a question as you were describing that last one, the dessert. Is like, what is poaching lettuce? Like, what would that be, or what would that look like?
So poaching is generally just to slowly simmer in a water, like lobster or shrimp are often poached. So in any sort of liquid, you just have it on a low simmer, so small bubbles, not big bubbles, and just lightly cook it. Some things like, again, shrimp and lobster is a perfect example. If you cook it too fast or too high of a heat, it could get like tough. So gentle cooking is a good way of going about it.
Okay. I wonder, just for everyone who's here, does anybody else have questions that you're eager to ask Matt, or questions about the lesson? Erin, I can see you have your hand up. You can feel free to take yourself off mute.
I'm not sure if you answered because I was talking to my mom, but what is your favorite cooking competition TV show?
Oh yeah, Top Chef.
Top Chef. Mine is Master Chef Kids and Master Chef.
Yeah, I love Alvin. He has a restaurant in Hong Kong called Bo Innovation, and it was like, I used to always read his menus, and like, this is kind of like before the internet was really popular, or like easier to, it wasn't as easy to navigate, but I would always try and find his menus and recipes, and it's interesting. He's from Toronto, but moved to Hong Kong and opened one of the best restaurants in the world in Hong Kong. So it was great to see him come back on MasterChef. He calls himself the devil in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a cool one.
I have another one. This is for anybody who's on the call. I know today we learned about making like lettuce 2 ways, and in the past, Chef Fia has done a session on how to cook broccoli 3 different ways. Are there any other vegetables that people find themselves making in like lots of different creative ways? And Matt, if you have, you know, ideas of like a vegetable that you'll often kind of multi-purpose in different ways.
I mean, yeah, there's like, I love cooking with vegetables. There's so many cool ways, like root vegetables. I really love cooking. We had a vegan, the Maple Leafs backup goalie is vegan. So I cooked a carrot, really, really low temperature for 2 hours, and in the oven, and it had like the texture of sort of like a short rib or something. So that was, I love doing that. Celery root is another cool one where I do a salt bake. So you mix salt with egg whites, cover it up with that, and bake it in the oven. It has really interesting texture.
Someone just mentioned, Crystal mentioned carrot bacon in the chat. I was wondering, Crystal, if you want to share with us what that is. I'd never heard of that before, and that sounds interesting.
It's just a matter of like the seasonings you used. I guess like Worcestershire sauce. I think a bit of soy sauce. I haven't made it in a while, but like cut the carrots on like a mandolin into strips, and then just bake it with those seasonings. And I kind of made myself like a vegetarian BLT. Kind of was like a little hesitant on the taste, but I was like actually really surprised. It was really good.
Nice. Sounds like a good one.
Yeah, carrot. When you slice it like that, it looks like bacon. If you think about like the layers, it's the nature's bacon.
Nature's bacon.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions they want to ask? I know we usually have some questions at the end of the class, just on kind of how the class went. So we'll launch that in a second to get your feedback. And you've just said you do, so I'll let you say what your question is. And if you want to ask your question, you can feel free to take yourself off mute. Okay, are you allowed to send in more recipes? Yes, you absolutely are. I will send through my email again so that people can see it. We love seeing what you're making at home, what you've been inspired by, what things you'd like us to focus on. I know Chef V is always really keen to hear what you like, because we want to make sure we're doing things that are right for you. So absolutely, you can send in more recipes. We'd love that. And take photos of your meals too. I would love to know like who is making this lettuce and what it turns out afterwards. I definitely need to buy some romaine myself and make this later. I'll throw it over to Fiona. I don't know if you want to ask our wrap-up questions now.
I have a question.
Okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Gaspar.
Yeah, my question is for Matthew. Matthew, I know you've been cooking for a while, for many years now, but after how many years or how many months, weeks, you felt like I got it. I can call myself a chef. I can grab a piece of fish and green anything and make a delicious food.
When that happens, I'll let you know. It hasn't happened yet for me, because it's like with food, it's like always changing. There's always new techniques and always something. I am just always trying to grow and learn more and read more and watch more and taste more and cook more and stuff like that. So personally, I always think that one day I'm gonna wake up and everyone's gonna call me out for not being a good chef, or like I don't know. I have like this like weird insecurity that I'm not good enough and need to keep going. And maybe that's what keeps me on my toes. But yeah, I think any chef who says, "Okay, I got it," that's going to be a big problem for them, because you got to always have an open mind and keep really trying to learn.
Thank you.
I'll ask just one last question that came in through the chat, which was, what meals did you make on Top Chef? And then as you're answering that, just for everyone else, we've just launched a poll to get your feedback. So let us know what you thought of today's class.
My favorite meal that I cooked on Top Chef. Well, I made it pretty far. I did well, and I won. If you've seen the show, they do daily challenges, and I won 5 of those. there was two that had a $5,000 prize and one that had a $10,000 prize. So I would say the favorite thing that I cooked was the one that won me $10,000, which was a lobster ramen noodle dish. Actually, funny enough, I made my own ramen noodles, and I made like a lobster dashi or lobster broth, and the guest judge was the editor, the food editor for the New York Times, Ruth Reichel, and she loved it. And yeah, and it won me $10,000, so I was pretty happy.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that is it in terms of kind of questions that have come in. I just want to share with you, as we launched that poll, a lot of appreciation coming in for you today, Matt, in terms of
great.
having a guest chef. People have really enjoyed having you on. So I know it's hard to get like the visual and verbal feedback when we're on these Zoom calls, but just to let you know that there's a lot of appreciation coming in. So
Awesome.
I think it's been great both to hear about your stories, you know, in addition to the cooking techniques. And we are recording this, so if people jumped in a little bit later and missed the first kind of half hour where you were doing those cooking demos, we will have that available to watch afterwards. Yeah, and just some thank yous coming in off the chat too.
Yeah, thank you
for
guys.
your
Thanks
help.
for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, has been really, really great, really wonderful. And I definitely learned something new.
Good.
Please, I hope everyone else learned something new. Please let us know, as we've been saying, if you did, and send in your photos and what you're making.
Woohoo! Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
round of applause. Thank you.
you.
Thanks, guys.